Alright, here we are. I'm working on the 86 Thunderbird here, which got the 5-liter in it with the AOD. I've been having some issues with this rebuilt transmission I put in here where it is shifting from first directly to third. It completely skips second gear. One of the solutions I've heard trying is cleaning out the governor, which now that I'm under here might be a little more of a pain than I thought, but we'll see how it goes. Let's see here. I've already removed, oh my gosh, I'm stuck under here. I've already removed the drive shaft, as you can see. The next thing I'm going to work on under here is removing my transmission cross member, so that way I can get to the bolts for this tail housing, because the governor is up in there, inside of it. I've heard a few people saying that if the governor is dirty or has, got some type of burr or contamination in it, that it could possibly be causing that issue. Hopefully that does fix my issue. I really wouldn't be having this problem if I didn't do a transmission flush on this car. It sat for 8 years when I bought it from a guy, and there was literally, the oil looked like not even pancake, like brownie batter inside the oil pan. So when I flushed it, I was like, hey, you know what, since that looks bad, let's go ahead and flush the transmission while we're at it. That was a mistake, because it was driving just fine. I flushed the transmission, and after I flushed the transmission fluid, it started to slip and act up and be all kinds of stupid. So it was doing it. It got me by. Well, in the winter, I did God, there's all these ants everywhere. I did an HO conversion on this. So basically, I replaced I don't know what the factory heads are. I put some E7 heads, ported out the EGR bump that's on the exhaust side. Got some 93 Mustang shorty headers. Put a HO upper intake on it. Put a 93 cam in it. Put a different ECU, fuel injectors, fuel pump, all that stuff. And when I did that, the transmission really started to slip. Just after one pass, I could tell it was slipping bad. So I got a transmission from Facebook Marketplace for cheap that was supposedly rebuilt. Well, I put it in there. There's no second gear. The only way I can get second gear is if you do the good old, 1-3-1 shuffle. You got it in 1, throw it down, or put it up in 3 and slam it back down in 1, and you can get second gear. It's not really the greatest on the transmissions. But I tried the valve body. I swapped out valve bodies on it. That didn't fix it. I'm hoping that me replacing the governor, or cleaning out the governor, will give me second gear, so I can get this thing back on the road and see what that 80 to 90 horsepower I got on it, see if it'll improve anything. But I don't know, we'll see. All right, little update. Let's see. I got the tail housing off. There's the governor right there, the governor. Well, I already had another transmission that the one I pulled out before, and I knew it at least shifted first and second gear. So I just took the one off that transmission and put it on this one. But there's a valve inside of there that just slides in and out. You can clean it, but I just put the old one that I had on that I knew worked before, just to see if this is even the issue. But I gotta go to the parts store real quick to get this friggin' gasket right there, and then I need the gasket for the drive shaft goes in. Besides that, I think today is done for. I don't feel like working in the dark, but I got a little bit of progress made. Hopefully AutoZone has the gasket kits I need, and I can throw it back in there, put the drive shaft back in, and at least just see if I got first and second gear before I put everything back together. All right. Finally got me a gasket. Had to go to Napa because no one else carries it for a gasket. I swear half the guys don't even know what you're talking about. Like, you know, the tail housing, the back of the transmission, you know, and they act like I'm an idiot but whatever. I just need to finish scraping off this gasket here. And see, I got my little plastic scraper. See how good I can do it. Yeah, won't be too bad. All right, let me finish scraping all this off, and I will get back to it. While I had the tail shaft off, I went ahead and replaced that seal right there, which was a little bit of a pain because it was stuck in there good. I basically ended up getting a screwdriver from this side and prying it up, which still took a minute. The thing was stuck in there. And then to put it back on so I didn't damage this, I used the old seal, just placed it over top of it and hit it with my dead blow hammer. Just that way I kind of got a even hit on it without damaging this with an actual hammer and without damaging anything in there. But hey, whatever. If this don't work, I still got transmission sitting there. Hopefully that one's good. I don't know, it's been sitting in a junkyard and someone just gave it to me for free. So if this doesn't work, we're gonna shove that old turd bucket in there and see what it does. I don't even know what this came out of. My guess is it came out of either a truck or another Thunderbird or something. I'm just guessing off of this right here that it probably came out of more than likely a truck because it was a column shift car. But that was the old. It's the old. It's the original transmission right there. That's what I do all my testing on, tinkering with, so I don't mess up what's in the car now. All right, well, let me throw this in here with the good old new gasket that I got. Like I said, from Napa. They're the only place that carries it because AutoZone doesn't, Advance doesn't, O'Reilly's doesn't. And half the time people look at you like you're crazy when you try to tell them what it's for. You try to tell them this gasket, and they're like, oh, you mean this seal right here? I'm like, no, not this seal. I want the gasket. It's a gasket. They're like, are you sure it's not a seal? I'm like, no, it's not a seal. It's a gasket. But hey, what do you expect? Sometimes you get winners who work there. Not all of them are like that, but you know, there's a few of them that work at those places that I don't know how they got the job, to be quite honest. But all right, well, get ready to put this back in there and we'll see how it does. Oh yeah. If I can get this transmission fixed, this will be the very next thing that comes out of this car. That darn thing. I put I think 1 year for our bracket finals, I put a mini spool in it because I lost several rounds the other year where it'd be running fine, but then that one pass, it wants to spin that one wheel, and I would lose a tenth right there off the gate. So unless they red lit or did not look back and just broke out, I was losing that round just because that 1/10 I'd lose because it'd spin that one tire. So I put a mini spool in it, which is great, but I'm tired of the slow turning and chirping, and when you drive it in the rain, you got to be careful because it's dangerous to drive on a wet street with a mini spool, even with the stock non-HO 302. Now it's a HO 302, and it's got the roughly 100 extra horsepower. I figured that 7.5 won't last too long. So currently it's got a 7.5 with a 273 gear. But I picked this bad boy up off of Facebook Marketplace, which came out of a turbo coupe. And it has, I don't know if we can get down here and see, it has a 355 gear, which is an 8.8. So I'm going from a 7.5 to an 8.8 and a 273 gear to a 355. And going from drum brakes to disc brakes in the back. So I'm getting better brakes, a stronger rear end, and I'm getting a better gear. So all around, I think it'll be a good upgrade as soon as I can get my stupid transmission fixed. But before I do that, I'm gonna go through it and replace the clutches inside of it so the LSD works, you know, it's like it's new and stuff like that. But all right, I got my tools out. Let me put this tail housing back in there and we'll get started. Alright, got the tail housing back in. Now it's time to put the drive shaft back in. Those 4 bolts. Not too bad. I'm almost there to being able to crank it back up, even though it's going to be basically open exhaust because there's my exhaust right now. And the other side, it is the only thing I can get to it. It's way up there. Yeah, you can't see it. Because the exhaust I had done, the shop did the exhaust. They did a phenomenal job, but it was one piece from the exhaust manifold flange all the way back to the exhaust tips. It was one freaking piece. So I butchered her up a little bit and put these clamps on here with adapters, so that way if I need to do something like this, it's easy to get to. Or because also the way it was done, I mean, it was solid. I mean, I've never seen an exhaust system so solid before. But to work underneath the car, it's a nightmare with the exhaust like that. So I cut it up here and there. I just gotta finish cleaning this up some, and then I need to get some more pieces for here and here, because like I said, they did an amazing job. But I needed to be able to get underneath the car and work on it sometimes, because the transmission cross member, you could not get it out because the exhaust was so solid, and the H pipe went underneath the transmission. The transmission, good Lord, mount would not come out. It was just stuck in there, so I had to cut it just so just to even do simple stuff like that. So whatever, it is what it is. About to throw the drive shaft in and get her cranked up. I will say this, before you ever decide to work on an AOD transmission, make sure you locate your golden socket. And that golden socket is the 10 millimeter, because you will definitely need it. And if your 10 millimeter is always like my 10 millimeter, they grow legs and disappear. Because usually it was a lot more than this. I mean, this was jam-packed. All 4 drawers of this were jam-packed with just sockets like this. And I would spend 20 minutes looking for a socket sometimes. But in case you're ever curious, spend like $15 or $20 at Harbor Freight, and they sell these guys. And boy, do they come in handy, because if I want my 1/2" 10, or right there, my 3/8 10 right there, or if I want, clearly I'm still missing some, and then here's your quarters. But you can get your deep wells and your short ones. And then I went and bought the standard ones too. I'm clearly missing a few sockets, but I'll worry about that later. At least I know where the majority of them are. These are amazing and extremely good time savers. I mean, I love these things because it's so easy to spot. Oh, 20, 18, my 5/16. If it'll zoom or focus. 5/16, 9/16. These are missing right now because I'm using them currently. But God, these are well worth the investment. But let's see. I got the drive shaft put in. Now, this will be extremely loud. Like I said, there's no exhaust right now, so we'll see if it'll work. Alrighty, so I always, because I put my tack right here for staging, I gotta look at my mile per hour, which is behind it like an idiot. Alright, I'm in 1. Oh shoot, hold on. See why I'm not getting a speed reading? I forgot to hook up my sensor. Let me do that real quick. That is literally, get out of the way, door. Come on. I'm on the wrong side. All right, here we go. Yep. What stinks down here? Forgot to hook my sensor back up. There we go. Now we should be able to. Now it should be able to tell me speed. Alright, we'll get back in there. Alright, let me crank it back up. Whew. Sorry about that. As I usually goes around 10, 11 miles an hour. Let's see if I bump it to second. Still no second. Oh, maybe that was second. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go drive. I still think second's missing. That means I'm gonna have to tear out this transmission. That's just wonderful. Let me make sure. Yeah, just go straight, say first to third. Do it again. See, it's still first gear. It's like it's second, then it's shift to third. I don't know. I'm gonna go just drive around the block real quick and just to see. I still don't think it's right, which means I gotta take the transmission out. Well, it was worth a try. Well, as you can see, it's basically nighttime now. Good news, actually, that did fix the problem. I switched out that governor and had it cleaned out basically, and it actually did fix it, I believe. The reason it wasn't shifting earlier is because I'm a moron, and when you do this, transmission fluid comes out. Well, when I did that test run a second ago, I never put any transmission fluid back in it. So I put some transmission fluid in it, and I drove it literally about 100 yards up the road and back because it's open headers right now because here's my H pipe. But it was shifting into second, which is awesome news. Now, if I just need to, of course, the parts stores only ever carry one of these at a time. They never have two, but clearly I need two. But once tomorrow, during my lunch break, I'm going to grab another one. Then I'll be able to bolt my exhaust on so it's not god-awful loud, so I can actually drive it down the road. But it did shift into second gear all by itself like it's freaking supposed to. So hopefully we can, I'll get that on tomorrow, and I'll be able to start making some passes. Being able to start doing this again. Good old chicken helmet. Yeah, look at that thing. That's how you do it. But, yeah. So I'm glad. So in case anyone's curious, that is a possible solution to this, is the governor. The governor on mine was messed up, because when I took it out here, when I was trying to clean it out, if you tip it upside down, those little pistons in there should fall out freely. Mine did not. I had to beat it a little bit to get it out, which is probably the reason it wasn't shifting. So, possible solution. Awesome.